Hi, everyone. Welcome back to What's Up Wednesday. My name is Rachel, and I am on the client success team here at Early Learning Ventures. And today I'm joined by Kelly Matthews, who is the Director of Family Childcare Strategy and Advancement with the Wisconsin Early Childhood Association, or WECA. Welcome, Kelly. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Rachel. So glad to be back.
Yeah, we're excited to have you, and we're excited to get to learn more about your work with WECA as well as this tax education project, which we'll be sharing about today. Before we get started, for anyone watching, if you have not heard of Early Learning Ventures before, we are a mission-driven nonprofit based out of Colorado with a focus on providing solutions to help childcare businesses across the nation succeed. We provide software solutions and hands-on support to help streamline operations, reduce costs, and improve quality of care. These What's Up Wednesday videos are just one of many resources that we offer. So I have links in the description of this video that'll take you to our website where you can learn more about us and hopefully connect further, learn more about the work that WECA does in Wisconsin, and also learn more about this tax education project. All right, Kelly, before we dive into our questions, can you just start us off by introducing yourself, telling us a bit about your background?
You bet. So my name's Kelly. I work with WECA, like Rachel said. I've been in early care and education in some capacity since I was 9 years old. I started as a mother's helper, but I've been a director, an assistant director, a Head Start teacher, and a trilingual English, Arabic, Spanish classroom, and also a family childcare provider, all before coming to WECA. WECA is the state affiliate for the National Association for the Education of Young Children, and I've been with WECA since about 2011.
That's amazing. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing, and I love that you've been in the ECE field in some form since the young age of 9. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so can you tell us what is the Tax Education Project?
Yep. So WECA is leading a 4-state demonstration project looking at how tax education can help support providers in their business taxes. We co-designed this project with Civitas Strategies, and we are funded both by a national funder and by a local Wisconsin funder for portions of the project that are specific to Wisconsin. We have trained and certified tax coaches that review childcare tax documents. So we're not looking at everybody's full forms or anything like that. We're really focused in on those childcare business forms. And we're working in Arizona, Colorado with ELV, Nebraska, and Wisconsin to serve 160 providers total, which would be 40 across each state. And we're looking at a 2-year cycle, so we can really look at the impact of here's how they started, here's what happened after the education and the changes they may have made to their tax forms, and then repeating that cycle so we can see over time how those impacts may add up financially, and also sort of in confidence in the provider's willingness and ability to take on their taxes. We look at if there's any audit risks. We're looking at might it be worthwhile to go back and amend if the errors are significant and a pattern over time. So it really is a comprehensive look at those business forms and helping providers not to file them. We don't file, but really helping them understand what the IRS means by the different terms and what the tax forms actually do for providers so they get a better understanding sort of the mechanics of their taxes.
Yeah, I love that it's really focused on the education aspect. So really giving the individual business owner the tools and resources that they need to understand their taxes. I think that that's really important. And this is exciting to get to discuss here together because I know, like you mentioned, partnering with us in Colorado, we have some coaches on our team. And so I know that anyone in our network or in our frame of work has been receiving emails and communications about this project. So hopefully this will help to clarify some questions that might have come up. So I'm curious, can you share what prompted this idea?
So about 20 years ago, I was a family childcare provider, and I was finishing up my first year of business, and I went and piled up all my records and receipts and all of that stuff. And I had read Tom Copeland's record keeping books, and I went to H&R Block and I set down my materials and pushed them across the table and said, here you go. And they actually pushed them back to me and said, you seem to know what you're doing. And I was like, I would really like you to do my taxes. And they're like, you look great. Good luck. And I was like, that's so weird. What I learned later is entities like those larger tax firms don't always like to work with family childcare because it's very expensive as far as time for them to do them. There's a lot of forms. Record keeping can sometimes be a challenge for providers, so they're not as organized as they might be. And it costs those firms a lot of money as far as their employee time to do them. And so knowing that now, it makes sense. But I went home and learned how to do my taxes, and I fell in love with it. Like, literally fell in love. So I had other providers that were colleagues of mine in family childcare looking at their forms, and I could tell like stuff was not right, but I didn't have any means to like help them on any scale. I could say, you probably want to talk to your tax person, go read page 59 of Tom Copeland's book, just making up that number. I don't know what's on page 59. But helping them understand like something wasn't right and they needed to do something to fix it, but I couldn't help. It took 20 years, but I finally am at an organization that has sort of the power behind it and the understanding of the importance of this work, and then partnering between WICA and Civitas with the great gratitude to our funders to actually put this into action is literally a dream come true for me.
I love that, because when it comes to taxes, we don't always hear statements like that. And so it's amazing that we have individuals like yourself that are passionate about this to support others who find taxes intimidating or scary or confusing. And it's really important.
Yeah, I tell people, you don't have to love it. I will love it for you. I just want you to understand it so you can make the best decisions for your business.
Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. So you mentioned that we're just wrapping up year one of the program. Can you share what sort of impacts you have seen so far?
I can. So we were working with one provider whose tax professional, a family provider, refused to file their 8829 business use of home. It is a tax form that is incredibly relevant for family providers and comes up with thousands of dollars of deductions typically on that form. And so we had to go back several times to support that provider, to advocate for herself, and her provider actually changed his practices and filed that form now on her behalf, and it saved her over $6,000 on her tax return. We had another provider with a huge audit risk. They had put an item on the wrong line to the tune of $24,000, which would have definitely been a red flag for an audit for a provider, or at least audit concern. I don't know the mind of the IRS, but if I were a reviewer looking at that, I would think something was out of place, seeing that large number there. We've had several other providers without that 8829 form. On average in Wisconsin, we're seeing about $10,000 to $11,000 worth of deductions taken on that form. So that can really impact a provider's return or the amount owed if those deductions are not filed properly on their tax returns. So I just think it's really important, for the monetary side, but also helping providers really understand what's happening on these tax forms so that they can explain it to their preparer and understand when their preparer is answering their questions, what it really means. We also had another provider who had been deemed income ineligible for her food share benefit in the state. And after going through her return, she made the decision to amend and actually through that process, located again close to $10,000 worth of deductions off her business income that weren't filed correctly the first time. So it can be a really big impact.
Yeah, my gosh, any one of those examples you shared is a huge impact. And I think I said this when we were meeting, you and I, to prep for this episode, but I know that most of us go into the ECE field for a love of caring for children, and the business side of things is not something that comes naturally to everybody, I think especially taxes. And when it comes time to file, it's just like you feel like you're on your own. And so this is really great to know that there is support and resources, and already just within a year, you're seeing a big impact. That's awesome.
It's such fun work, I have to say. It really is.
Yeah. So who is eligible for the program?
So we're working with childcare programs that are independent programs. So it could be either family childcare in-home, or it can be a center-based group childcare program. We cannot work with churches, YMCAs, nonprofits, partially because they don't file the same tax forms that we're qualified to coach on. And we are looking for folks that are fully in charge of their tax decisions. So if you're a YMCA or at a university and under a larger umbrella, that's just not going to apply to you. You have folks that are taking care of your taxes in a different way, so it wouldn't make a lot of sense to enroll you. I also just want to stress it's okay if you haven't filed yet. We are specifically looking for folks who may not have filed, had filed for an extension, and are really trying to get their ducks in a row before filing in October. So now is the perfect time, if you haven't yet, to check us out and apply.
That's good. That's a good reminder. Is there anything else that you would recommend for anyone watching right now to keep in mind about this tax education program?
Absolutely. We do not file your taxes, and I cannot say that firmly enough, strongly enough, thoroughly enough. We are about education, so we are not going to tell you, you should do this, you should do that. What we're going to talk about is, here's what the IRS expects to see on this line item. These are the types of deductions that typically go into this category of supplies or meals or whatever it might be. Here are the way the calculations work for certain deductions, but we won't be doing that math. We'll help you understand where to find the resources for it so you can do it, but it really is about education. And even though it sounds ridiculous to have to say, we actually do need to look at your tax forms. So we have a way that you can submit securely those forms. We always ask that people remove their identifying information, like their social security numbers and such. Your application comes to me, and then I pass it on to the team in Colorado that's working with us on this project. And then they reach out directly to you because they've already possibly been working with you. You have the relationship with ELV, and then they will take it from there because their coaches have been tax certified through this project.
Perfect. Thank you. And then how does someone go about joining? I know you mentioned there was 4 states you guys are working. And so for someone who may be watching who is in one of those states, what would be the next steps?
Yep. So we have an application link that we can make part of this video, so it's easy for you to find. You, if picked and meet the qualifications, you'll get an email saying, yes, welcome, you've made it. If not, you might get an email that says, sorry, we can't at this time, for whatever reason, bring you on the project. And then you will fill out a coaching agreement with your team at ELV here. And we ask that you put a W-9 on file because there is a stipend payment that goes with this project. So to thank you for your time, we have a stipend that goes out after a completed year of coaching with your team. And we need to just have that on record for the feds for our audit purposes. So we will make sure that you get a link. You can also just go to the WICA website, which is wisconsinearlychildhood.org, and do a search for tax education, and the page will pop up. But we'll also make sure you have the links.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. I will have all of those links mentioned here in the description of this video for anyone watching, as well as contact information. So if you have follow-up questions, I encourage you to reach out. Even if you reach out to myself directly, I'll point you in the right direction. But thank you so much for joining us today, Kelly, and sharing. Do you have any final thoughts to share with us or any other resources to mention?
Just really excited. Like I said, we've partnered for a long time with ELV. I was part of our shared service network startup and founding. So we've had a strong partnership with ELV for years at this point. And in addition, we also recently published a book, WICA did, called Build It Strong: How to Thrive from Startup to Retirement. And in that, there are also things in there to help you think about your record keeping, how to prepare for taxes, and really understand some of those pieces so that you can have good record keeping year round to get you ready. And using technology is always one of those things that we support because it can help you with compliance and financial reporting, like getting organized for taxes.
Yeah, thank you so much. And congratulations on the book. And we always appreciate your continued partnership. It's, yeah, really awesome to have you here today and just to get to continue working together. Thank you so much also to everyone.
We'll help you out.
Yeah, yes. And thank you also to everybody watching and joining us today. Be sure to click the links in the description of this video to learn more or reach out to connect further. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.